Hello guys, this is your friend and we are back with a new fanfic. Which is what if Naruto was the forgotten son while his sisters held the nine tails? Smart older Naruto part 2. And if you enjoy this fanfic then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And now let's start the fanfic. Minato Namikaze, also known as the Yondaime Hokage, was sitting at his desk looking over numerous Chunin senseis of several genin groups. As you may know, Minato started smiling at them. We have gotten an invitation from Kumo for the first Chunin exams this year. Whispers broke out as the senseis talked amongst themselves. Sir, aren't we still hostile with Kumo? A random Chunin asked. Minato shook his head. To be honest, our relationship is quite cloudy. This got a laugh out of a few people. But no, we are not hostile with them. So that is why I have accepted. Now how many of you are willing to send your teams to Kumo for the Chunin exams? Slowly, several Junins suggested their groups with the head of the village nodding his head writing them down. After a couple of minutes Minato asked, is there anyone else? I Makoto Uchiha nominate Itachi Uchiha, Yugao Azuki and Naruto Uzumaki for these Chunin exams, Makoto said as she moved up from where she was. Several people started to murmur again, and no one noticed that Minato narrowed his eyes. Are you sure about this, Makoto? Of course I am, the Uchiha matron replied. I have faith in my team just like all the other Chunin has in their team. But they are just rookies, not even a year into their genin days. That is true, however. You forget that my team has already successfully done 8C rank missions. Can any other genin team here boast that in their first year? Many of the Chunin in the room could feel the tension rising between their leader and Makoto. Some were confused as to why he wouldn't let this one team go to a Chunin exam. It's not like they would get past the first round, right? I'll let them go, Minato said slowly. Makoto smiled, but it was quickly replaced by a frown by his next words, only if someone would second the notion. Does anyone want to do that? None of the Junins spoke up. Sure, they thought it would be a joke if the rookies went into the exams, but they did not want yet another competitor in it as well. This caused the Hokage to smile. Well, it looks like. I'll second the notion, an elderly voice interrupted the meeting. Looking towards the door, everyone saw Sarutobi Hiruzen with a pipe in hand. Hokage-sama, several Junins, even the present Hokage, greeted. The old man smiled but shook his head. How many times do I have to tell you? I'm just a regular ninja now that hands out missions, Sarutobi smiled. He then turned to his successor. As I was saying, I second the notion of Squad 9 going to the Chunin exams in Kumo. But Sarutobi-sama, Minato tried to reason, but was cut off with the older Hokage putting his hand up. Minato-kun, I hope you would trust my judgment in sending that team out. If anything, it shows good faith in our up-and-coming ninja. Wouldn't you agree? He smiled at the blonde. After a few seconds Minato sighed and nodded his head. Fine, I'll allow Team 9 to go. Thank you, smiled Makoto. Now if you don't mind, I'll be getting the consent papers. Looking at the former Hokage, she smiled at him. Would you like to come and tell my team the news? I would love to, Sarutobi replied. The two walked out of the room. The rest of you are dismissed to tell your teams as well, Minato said with a smile. The rest of the group bowed, before leaving as well. It was quiet for a moment before he spoke again. I want you guys out of the room as well. I need some time to myself. Putting down a simple genjutsu to make them invisible, 4 Anbu, the special group of ninja that only listened to the cage of the village, left the room too. He waited to make sure no one else was there before Minato put his hand on the desk, where a hidden seal was. The room glowed a bright blue before stopping. No sound was coming into the room, even though the window was open. Closing the blinds, Minato took a deep breath before doing something no one would have expected. He grabbed some random object from his desk and threw it against the wall of the room, letting out a furious scream. Sitting down, he allowed himself to calm down and look at the situation carefully. Before long all he could do is frown. Damn, if this keeps going on, the Toad Sage's second prophecy will come true. I will not allow that to happen. Naruto must lose at these Chunin exams. At Tsunade's home minutes later. It had been about 3 months since the whole mission with Yukie. He had kept his promise to Yukie and sent a letter once a week. Since then Team 9 had done only C-rank missions since then. They all varied in difficulty. Some had them guarding yet another person, another had them gathering data and trading it with another team from another country, and others had them taking stuff from other people. It was also during this time that Naruto and Itachi had experienced their first kill. They were guarding a caravan of merchants traveling through Fire Country to the border of Wind Country. As they approached the desert, several bandits appeared to steal from the caravan. While the members of the caravan could fight, Naruto's group was forced to as well. Both Naruto and Itachi had managed their first kill that day. None would talk for 2 days and they were trembling like mad. It was on the 3rd day that Naruto got up and punched Itachi across the face, causing them to have a scuffle. In the end, a tired and beaten pair of shinobi were talking to each other about the experience, vowing to never enjoy killing. But today, it was Naruto's team's day off. Shizune, when will you get a boyfriend? Asked a very bored Naruto. He was eating some instant ramen as he watched his surrogate sister lounge around the house. Be quiet. An older girl, looking around the age of 17, stuttered. She was sitting down across from him. She was wearing a dark purple kimono with a fishnet shirt underneath. Around her waist was a large red obi tying it. I just haven't found time to get one. Shizune replied. That's what you said a month ago. You haven't gone on a mission in 2 weeks and Tsunade-chan hasn't given you any work. You should go on a date or something. Naruto-kun, you're 7, I don't think you should be giving out dating advice. I have about a third of the village willing to be my girlfriend, I think I can give advice. Plus, Ero-sensei gives me great tips. Although I don't know what he means by sharpening my kunai a lot, or putting my sword into a girl's sheath. I mean I don't even have a sword, and my kunais are sharp. Huh, Shizune, why are you blushing? The blonde asked as he looked at the teen. Her face was beet red while he spoke, for unlike him Shizune understood what he was saying. Seriously Shizune, are you sick or something? I'm not sick Naruto-kun, the girl stuttered, shocked at the fact that her little brother was taught something like that. Just don't repeat those words again, for a long time. Especially in front of girls. Okay, but are you sure? You're still quiet red, the blonde said worriedly to the girl. Shizune nodded again. So as I was saying, you need a boyfriend. Even if it is Kakashi Baka. I don't like him like that. Shizune shouted. He's a pervert and weird. Really? I don't like him like that, really. Then you probably like someone else. Maybe Asuma ni. Shizune shook her head. Genma-san. Another no. Guy-san. Hell no. Shizune shouted, causing Naruto to flinch. He's even weirder than Kakashi. I agree. Naruto then thought for a moment before opening his mouth again. Then who do you like? I can't say, she said slowly. Why? Because there is an age difference between us, more than 5 years. Shizune was blushing, the thought of talking about this to Naruto. Is he older? Younger? Ew. If he was younger that make you a pedo, pedo. Pedophile, a voice finished for him. Yeah, pedophile. Thanks Ero-sensei. Naruto thanked the old man behind him, without looking back. No problem brat. Jiraiya smiled as he ruffled the blonde's hair and sat next to him. But is this true Shizune-chan? You like someone younger than you? Shizune was blushing hard again. I. Shizune couldn't complete her sentence. It's okay. We won't tell anyone, right Naruto? Jiraiya asked the little boy. Right. We wouldn't do anything to hurt Shizune after all. Naruto gave her a smile and a thumbs up. Jiraiya mimicked him. The blonde then turned to the white-haired man. So Ero-sensei, what are you doing here? What, I can't just visit my favorite godson? Well, When you come by the house it usually means you're here to sneak a peek at. Naruto was stopped from talking when Jiraiya's hand clamped down his mouth. What are you doing, brat? Haim may be around to hear you say that. Around to hear him say what? Tsunade asked as she entered the kitchen to find a blushing and shocked Shizune, Jiraiya with a hand over Naruto's mouth, and Naruto looking a bit lost. Nothing important. Jiraiya forced a laugh before turning to Naruto with pleading eyes. Right, Naruto. Come on, Naruto, lie for me here, he thought. Sure. It was nothing, Tsunade-chan. Naruto beamed at her, acting his age. Then why is Shizune blushing? We just found out she's a pedophile. Shizune shrunk back a bit when he said that, then drew back even further when Tsunade raised an eyebrow at her. Whatever. Brat, your team is here to talk to you. Huh. Naruto was confused again. There isn't a team meeting today. Getting up and putting his dishes in the sink, he left the room wondering what was going on. When he entered the living room he was met with Itachi, Yugao and Makoto all sitting there waiting patiently. Why are you guys here? Is there something going on? Actually there is, Naruto-kun, Makoto happily said. I have nominated you three to be part of the Chunin exams held in Kumo. Really? Naruto shouted excitedly. All three of us are going. That's right. The blonde then turned to his teammates. You guys excited about this? As if you even need to ask, Itachi scoffed, but there was a smile tugging at his lips. I'm willing to see how far we have come, Yugao admitted. This had Naruto break out smiling. This is going to be great. Naruto-kun, don't forget that these are an exams, and that you need to take this seriously, Makoto told him. Of course, Makoto-sama, but I can't help but feel excited. We get to see how we rank amongst the other genin of the world. Where do you think we'll stand, guys? The middle, the purple-haired girl guessed, unsure if this was a trick question. Never doubt yourself, Yugao-senpai, Itachi said. He had decided to using her first name after knowing each other for this long. If you think we are in the middle, then state it with conviction. But for me, I think we're somewhere near the bottom. I do too, Naruto agreed, nodding his head. Why do you say that? Yugao asked. Because I don't mind starting at the bottom. Why? Because if we start at the bottom, we have to work our way up. If we work our way up, we'll end up showing the world our true potential, Itachi explained. Isn't that right, Naruto? Yeah, we'll prove to the others that we're not just some kids. That just like them, we are ninja, Naruto said with conviction that felt infectious. Yugao was now wearing a confident smile on her face. Who's with me? Itachi rolled his eyes and slapped Naruto on the back. Baka, we already said we were. What's all the commotion about? Jiraiya asked as he, Tsunade and Shizune appeared from the kitchen. Naruto turned to them and smiled brightly. We're heading off to the Chunin exams in Kumo. The Chunin exams already? Shizune gasped. You guys are so young. I remembered I tried the Chunin exams when I was 12 and became one when I was 13. You guys are advancing faster than I did. Are you sure you guys are ready for this? You should have more faith in us, Shizune. Nay. We'll make it through and become Chunin, TT Ibeo. A silent moment passed before anyone could respond. The first to recover was Naruto. Not again. Man, I hated when I slipped back into doing that. Itachi was chuckling behind him, the girls were giggling, while Jiraiya was outright laughing at him. Don't worry, kid, some people just never get over that, he said. But you be careful, okay? The Chunin exams are serious stuff. I know, that's why I'm excited. Good, we'll be leaving in 2 days with the rest of the Konoha contingent, Makoto told him. She then presented him with papers. Fill these out and give them to me tomorrow, after that just rest for the next 2 days. Hi, Makoto-sama. Naruto nodded. The rest of Team 9 bid their farewells and left, leaving Naruto to do the paperwork. Tsunade went back into the kitchen and Jiraiya left to talk to Sarutobi, leaving Shizune once again to talk to Naruto. It was quiet as Naruto did the paperwork, but since he felt the need to talk to the older teen, so, is the boy you like someone we know? Naruto. Shizune shouted. A week later, the group had left Konoha were closing in on their destination. With non-stop running they had made it there within the week. Since most of the genin hadn't gone that far from Konoha, this was a sight to behold, but the thing that made it even more spectacular was the scenery. They were so high up in the mountains that they were literally in the clouds. For some odd reason though, Naruto felt at home when he arrived, which worried him. This place looks beautiful. Naruto was snapped out of his thoughts as Yugao mentioned that next to him. We're so high up and mountains look so nice. If you've seen one mountain you've seen them all, Naruto mumbled. But the air feels fresher here. Itachi merely nodded his head. The large contingent then entered through the gates of Kumo. Naruto looked around the village and noticed that most of the ninja in the village had a sword. You noticed it too, huh, Naruto? Itachi whispered. Naruto nodded. We don't have much experience against sword-carrying opponents. We'll manage somehow. As they walked forward, they were led to the hotel they were going to stay in. As was given to every group, they were given a room each with 2 beds, a couch with a pull-out bed, and a couple of seats. Naruto and Itachi had decided to let both Makoto and Yugao have the bed, while they would trade off on the pull-out one and sleeping in a sleeping bag. After settling in, Makoto had given them the day to familiarize themselves with the area. Itachi was leading the group as they exited the hotel. So where do you two want to go first? Itachi asked. Let's just have a look around. The exams won't start until tomorrow anyway, Yugao suggested. Actually, I was thinking of going to get some food, Naruto said. I'm kind of hungry. Didn't we just have lunch? Itachi questioned him. That was like 3 hours ago, Naruto whined. Itachi rolled his eyes. Fine, let's go find something for you to eat. Naruto jumped for joy as they walked around the village looking for a food stand that Naruto would like, i.e. a ramen stand. As they walked around, all 3 of them noticed the different villages that were there. Minor villages such as Aim, Rain, who must have traveled a long way to get there, as well as the onsen village, and Kusa. Other than Konoha, the only other major village that seemed to agree to go was Iwa. When they passed by the Iwa group, Naruto had hid in between some buildings, knowing full well what they may do to him considering who his father was. When they finally decided to sit down and eat, at a ramen stand of course, Naruto had ordered whatever their largest serving was, which was called the Spicy Thunder Special, that was super spicy and super salty, which would be free if the person could eat it under 30 minutes without water. Now since he was friends with Itachi who taught him, beat into him, to eat properly, he no longer gulps down the food. Naruto was taking time to savor the soup as he ate it, but still at faster pace than the other 2. While Yugao had been accustomed to seeing him eat vast amounts of ramen when he could, the vendor was looking at the blonde with slight awe and horror as Naruto plowed through the food. Does he always eat like this? The ramen vendor asked Itachi. No, Itachi calmly replied as he ate his salty ramen with a boiled egg, he's usually faster than this. That made the vendor even more horrified, worried about his sales. That's right, back at home Naruto-san would be at his 3rd bowl right now, which would be roughly the same size as this, Yugao interjected as she ate her miso ramen with chicken. Seconds later Naruto put the bowl down and had a smile on his face. That was some great ramen, old man. He smiled at him. I haven't had anything that spicy in a while. Plus the serving size was great too. You finished that gigantic bowl in 10 minutes, the vendor whispered, nearly crying for the loss of extra income. Oh yeah, wasn't it that if I could eat it under 30 minutes without a drink it's free, right? The vendor nodded his head. Do you think I can have another one then? Naruto smiled. If I don't eat it within the same 30 minutes I'll pay for both of them. That had the vendor's head shooting up. Really? Don't do it, Itachi warned. You'll just lose more money. When it comes to ramen, almost no one can compete with this boy. The vendor then remembered what they said about Naruto eating more than that and thanked Itachi for the warning. Fine then, Naruto scanned the menu again before finding something that caught his eye. I'll have an order red bean soup with mochi on it please. Okay, the vendor replied, once again looking at his lost income. The porridge was given to Naruto, who slurped that one too, but a more sedate pace. So slow in fact that Itachi and Yugao were able to finish their ramen 5 minutes before Naruto could finish the soup. How come you eat that a lot slower than the ramen? Not a lot of people know this, but this soup is my favorite thing to eat next to ramen, Naruto told the vendor after paying for the soup. It's sweet enough to fix the salty taste that the ramen leaves behind. Never thought of it like that before, the vendor replied. Naruto was about to go on but stopped when Itachi nodded at him. Naruto nodded back before disappearing from his seat. Hey, where did he go? The ramen vendor asked. He went to get our uninvited guest, Itachi announced, while Yugao nodded beside them. While they were not great censors, they had trained enough to know when people are following them. Naruto came through the flaps of the entrance a few seconds later, pulling along a girl with brown hair done in a ponytail. She was wearing a black and purple shirt and black shorts. A Kumo headband was on her forehead, although from the looks of it she was quite a bit older than them, probably the same age as Yugao. Who are you and why are you spying on us? Itachi demanded as Naruto plopped her down onto the stool. The blonde also noticed the dark look that the vendor sent the girl. The girl looked shocked, probably due to the fact that Naruto had managed to bring her into the shop while also getting the drop on her. After snapping out of it, she looked at each of the 3 genin. I am Yugito ni, genin of Kumo. I saw some Konoha headbands and wondered what they were doing here, Yugito explained. She seemed uncomfortable sitting there and Naruto noticed this too. We're here for the exams, Itachi stated with absolutely no emotion in his voice. I see, Yugito said before looking at Naruto. Is there another reason you're here? The Uchiha demanded. Just one question, why does he smell like a cat? She asked pointing at Naruto. Gah, you mean that lion's spit smell is still on me? Naruto shouted. It's been 2 years already and I still smell like that. I don't smell anything, Yugao stated. Neither do I, Itachi agreed. How come I can smell it then? Yugao asked, sounding disappointed. Naruto was sure that was the tone she took up when she said that. Whatever then. The Kumo ninja stood up and was about to leave but turned to them. As a resident of Kumo, I would like to welcome you to your village and wish you luck in the Chunin exams. When we do meet up we will be enemies then. Yugao nodded at them before running away. When she was gone both Itachi and Naruto frowned. She has an advantage against us now, Itachi told the other 2. Yeah, if she can smell me out she'll be able to find us, and if we fight we won't be able to expect an ambush, Naruto continued. Then why don't you keep practicing that one move you have, Naruto-san, Yugao suggested again. The one that will let you know where people are around you. I'll have to keep doing that then. We need to stock up on chakra replenishing pills too if we want to do that, Naruto said. That move will take out a lot of chakra from me. After their brief lunch the trio left and were walking around the village. After some time they had accidentally come across a training field that was in use. Itachi was telling them to leave the area, but Naruto was rooted at the spot. He was watching the 2 sparring with an excited smile on his face. The 2 fighting were 2 buff men. They were both dark-skinned and had platinum blonde hair, and oddly enough both had small beards too. The only way to actually tell them apart other than the clothing they had was one had sunglasses and was rapping extremely bad. Naruto was ignoring that though. All he saw, or what he didn't see, was the other man, who was covered in lightning who had kept disappearing before his eyes, just like his dad did when he used the Hiraishin no Jutsu, Flying Thunder God technique. Before Itachi could stop him Naruto ran out onto the field as the 2 stopped fighting. That was so cool, Naruto shouted as he ran onto the field. The 2 men tensed but calmed down, just a little, when they saw the boy running onto the field who was followed by 2 other people. This field is reserved for us only. How did you get here? The man without the glasses asked. We were wandering around and accidentally made our way here, Itachi explained. I'm also sorry for the actions from my friend, we did not mean to interrupt your training. It's okay little girl boy. Meeting with kids is such a great joy. The man with the sunglasses rapped. B. Will you not rap right now? The other man grunted. Don't be such a downer bro. Rapping like this is the way to go. B continued on horrible rapping. Whoa, you rhyme really well, do you mind if I go for a spell? Naruto asked in the same way. The blonde and B laughed in amusement while the other man and Itachi face-palmed. Since Yugao was on her own, she noticed the odd similarities between the two groups which frightened her a bit. Sorry for my brother's horrible rapping, the other man apologized. My name is A, and that is my idiot brother Killer B. Itachi, the idiot talking to your brother is Naruto, while the female next to me is Yugao. Itachi introduced his team without giving their last names. I take it you three are here for the Chunin exams, seeing as you are from Konoha. Itachi nodded. The two males then looked back towards their counterparts who were rapping, or trying to. Hey Itachi, listen here. Naruto started with a small sentence. A. Our rhymer likes worms in you ear. Killer B continued. I mean we're pretty cool. And we do go to some rhyme school. What do you think bro? Our rhyming is one hell of a show. Both Itachi and A had twitching eyes at the sheer stupidity the two had presented. Oh Kami, this is going to be hell, both A and Itachi said at the same time. You're not half bad kid, not with all the rhymes you just did, B complimented Naruto. Thanks, but rapping is not my thing. I came here to ask your bro how he's fast as lightning, Naruto said. That made A and B freeze. What did you say? A asked. I wanted to know how you're so fast. That odd lightning move you did, the one that made you really fast. I wanted to know how you did it. Sorry kid, but it's Kumo's secret. Oh, Naruto deflated. Naruto, leave it alone, we have to go, Itachi stated. Makoto-sensei may be looking for us. Itachi was taking care of avoiding giving out more information than he should. Yeah, Naruto answered, before a smirk appeared on his face. Hey A, how about a bet? A bet, A asked. If I could make it to the third round of the Chunin exams, you'll show me how to do that technique. What a silly bet. Why would I do something as stupid as giving a kid the move that only Raikages know? Because I can bet something on the line too, something that would make it your while. What would that be? An Uzumaki, Naruto said with the utmost confidence. That had A's eyes widen, while B remained relative quiet. Behind him Itachi and Yugao looked mortified. An Uzumaki, A said carefully. Yup, one with the power to seal and control Biju and bind Jinchuriki. That had a trembling. His father had messed up getting an Uzumaki by the name of Kushina. How could he trust a mere boy to get one for him? How can I be so sure you can accomplish this? Trust me, I have my ways, I'll even sign a contract if I have to. A looked at Naruto, who seemed so confident in his end of the bargain. There were a few tense moments of silence, before A nodded. Fine, but we won't need a contract. I mean, a little kid like you wouldn't be able to fool me, a Junin. True, so we have a deal. Naruto had stretched out his arm, which A shook. When he did, A was surprised to see a black mark appear around his wrist. What the heck is this? Naruto smiled. While I may be only 7 years old, A-san, that doesn't mean I'm stupid. I had taken up a small interest in seals, and that is one of the ones I got used to. It's an explosive seal, which can only be taken off by me since it requires something only I have. Why did you put this on me? Just a little, what's the word again? Insurance that you keep your end of the bargain. How come you don't have one? Who says I don't? Naruto showed his wrist to A. It will detonate if I don't hold up my end of the bargain as well. A stared at him before grunting. Fine. B, let's go, we're late for an appointment. A turned around and left the clearing, leaving only Killer B and the kids. Well, that was pretty of you, little dude. Your ways of tricking bro was quite crude, B smiled. But I like that about you, just be sure you don't bite off more than you can chew. B then disappeared with a puff of smoke. When they were gone, Itachi walked up to Naruto and punched him across the face. What the heck do you think you are doing? Itachi roared, which scared Yugao. He showing more emotion than Yugao was used to seeing, but Naruto had seen this side before too. Did you know this could be considered treason? I know, but it's not like I'm putting anyone important on the line here, Naruto reasoned as he stood up. Not putting anyone on the line. I can't think of any Uzumaki that can do what you offered other than Kushina Namikaze, formerly Uzumaki. Are you saying that you are offering her to Kumo? Yugao was surprised at the information. She never knew Kushina Namikaze was related to Naruto in some way. I'm not saying that, Naruto roared back, punching Itachi in the process. I didn't offer her up. Then who? One of the twins. I sure as hell know that they can't do anything like that yet. Not them either. Then who? Me. Again a tense silence broke out between the group. You're offering yourself up, just to learn a stupid technique. Itachi growled. Think of it as you will, but I need to learn that move. Naruto stared at Itachi. You're playing a dangerous game here, Naruto. I know, but all I have to do is meet the requirements to win. Which is, make it to the finals. Again another silence reigned over the group. Damn it Naruto, you are stupid, but it seems like you need my help again, Itachi sighed. I'm not happy about your decision, but I don't want to lose a friend. No matter how stupid he is. Naruto-san, don't make any more rash decisions, Yugao reprimanded him. I too don't want to see you leave through this. That is why our team will give it our all, not just for a promotion, but for you as well, idiot, Itachi said confidently. Guys, thanks, Naruto said with a smile. Don't thank us yet, Itachi told him. The road you put us on is going to be long and hard. I know, Makoto-sama should not catch wind of this, you hear? The other two nodded. Good, let's head back. As they began to walk back, Yugao then just remembered something. Can you really do what you offered? Seal Biju and confine Jinchuriki? Yup, how do we know you're not lying? Because I used it once today, to catch our little guest. With A and Killer B. A went to a sealing specialist to confirm what Naruto had put on him, which was unfortunately true. Only Naruto could take it off and it would explode if he didn't honor his end of the deal. That sneaky brat, A cursed under his breath. Next to him, B was laughing hard. Admit bro you've been had. Outfoxed by a young lad. B laughed. This is no laughing matter B. If this is how good the brat is, then we may have a problem. I may be the first Raikage to lose that technique to a brat outside of our own village. Don't make such a fuss, in the exams we have our own little genius. Oh yeah, the Raikage known as A nodded his head then. That is true, not only that Iowa seems to have sent a prodigy as well. A put on a pensive face before smiling. This year may just be the year of the super rookies, and while I may have been duped by one, I don't mind watching how things will pan out. Even for that Naruto brat. It was the first day of the first part of the Chunin exams, and most of the hopefuls were rather nervous about it. Sadly, Naruto Uzumaki and Itachi Uchiha weren't part of that group, for they had only gotten up recently. Naruto was still brushing his teeth after eating a breakfast that consisted of instant ramen and some fruit, although the fruit was only suggested by Makoto. Itachi on the other hand was still half asleep and lazing around, although he was already dressed up. The last member of their team was looking at them with exasperation. Are you guys really going to take your time this morning? Yugao asked, whined. I mean, I was ready since 7 in the morning. It's already 9, and the exams start in 2 hours. Don't sweat the small stuff, Yugao-senpai. Naruto shouted from the bathroom. We'll get there in time. But you still have to take a bath. I don't take hours on end in the bathroom, senpai. Yugao shook her head, then looked at Itachi, who was just sitting on the couch with his eyes closed. And Itachi, are you really going to sleep at this moment? I am not asleep, Yugao-senpai, Itachi replied with his eyes still closed. I'm merely meditating to focus in on myself. I swear I heard you snoring a bit right now. That was just some deep breathing exercise. For once, Yugao rolled her eyes at Itachi instead of Naruto. Are you two really not going to do anything to hurry up? Yugao asked with an irritated tone. No, both boys replied in unison. Yugao opened her mouth to speak again, but was stopped when a hand was placed on her shoulder. Looking behind her, she saw Makoto giving her a motherly smile. Don't worry about those two, Yugao-chan, Makoto smiled at her. But Yugao tried to protest. Trust me, it is better to let those boys do what they do. She then shook her head playfully. I remember the day of their genin test, Naruto had slept over at our house. The following morning it was just like this, Naruto waking up late and Itachi just lazing about. Fugaku was so mad when he saw Itachi just doing nothing that morning. She gave a small giggle. So just rest as well, Yugao-chan. If you're stressed about what you guys are going to do, nothing good will come out of it. But, okay. Yugao sighed and sat down on the bed. She copied what Itachi had done and closed her eyes to get a little more rest, since she was more than a bit tired, for she started to feel nervous since last night and got limited sleep. The purple-haired girl didn't know how long it was, but she was shaken awake by Naruto. Wah, we have half an hour to get to the testing site, Naruto told her with a smile. Let's go, sleepyhead. You mean I was for an hour and a half? Yugao yawned. Yeah, why didn't you wake me? You looked so peaceful when you did, Itachi interjected as he stood near the doorway. We both thought you should rest a bit more, especially since last night you kept tossing and turning. You guys heard that. I did, but Naruto was knocked out. Shut up, Itachi, Naruto grumbled. The blonde then turned to his third teammate. Let's go. Yeah, Makoto-sama is already with the other Konoha Junin and waiting for results. Yugao nodded, then Itachi opened the door. Remember, we have to make it to the finals, Itachi told the group as they walked out of the room and locked it. For Naruto. Right, for Naruto, Yugao agreed. Hey, it's like you're doubting we're not going to make it, Itachi, Naruto smirked. We may be strong, but we aren't going to be about this, Naruto, Itachi shot back. I know. But you're worrying too much. Minutes earlier within Kumogakure's council room. So I take it you have heard about the little bet our young Raikage has made with a boy from Konoha? Kumo's council member Han asked. This was a short balding man who wore a bright yellow male kimono and fanned himself. Yes, we have, various other council members replied. That is good then. Then I do not have to bring anyone else up to speed, Han continued. As you may know, the terms for the bet is that if the brat would make it to the finals, he would be taught how to use the Raikage's lightning armor, according to what my Anbu spies have reported to me. What if the boy doesn't make it to the finals? A random member asked. Then we will have something our third Raikage couldn't obtain. What would that be? In Uzumaki, Han said with a smirk. This caused whispers to break out amongst the council members. I know, the failed attempt back then had caused a stir, but this boy may be able to keep his promise. How do we know we could trust this brat? Yet another different council member asked. He had placed an explosive seal on both himself and Asama, Han informed them. Since we couldn't take it off the man himself, and that only the boy can, we can assume that he knows what he has put himself in. Then we should make sure the boy loses, or at least has a greater potential to lose, at every stage of the exams then. I totally agree with that council member, Han nodded. Since we are in Kumo, we cannot outright show any sort of favoritism, however we can bend the rules enough to allow them to lose. Namely, hindering them more often than not. He then stared at all the council members at their face. So, are we in agreement to what will happen? We will try to have the team of rookies from Konoha fail. Hi, good, now be gone. We do not want any suspicion being cast on us. Han mumbled to himself. Asama is too prideful to do anything stupid as cheat, so we have to do it ourselves. When the room cleared, everything was still until a shadowy figure walked out from his hiding place. Well, This Han thinks A is a sucker, the man stated. As he stepped into the light of the room, it was revealed to be none other than a killer bee. Well then I think I should tell bro about this. Quote. Team 9. As Team 9 made their way to the gathering hall, they had ran into other teams from Konoha, who would smile at them and wish them luck. However, they knew better than that. Itachi, Naruto and Yugao all knew those were fake smiles and they weren't actually being wished luck. The other teams were just being nice since they too wanted to win. They must think we're stupid or something, Naruto grumbled. I swear they must think we are below them. Don't think anything of it, Naruto, Itachi said. Some of them have tested before and are annoyed at the fact that we are here, mere rookies. I agree with Itachi-san, Yugao concurred. I mean I saw some of my own senpai there and they were glaring at me too. Well, then I guess we should show the world just how good we are, huh? Naruto said with a smirk. Itachi nodded and Yugao sighed. The trio finally reached the building they were looking for and opened the door. It was empty save for a long hallway. Looking at each other, they nodded and walked down the hallway. It would be 5 minutes of walking down the hallway when they noticed something off. I think we passed by here before, Yugao mentioned as she looked around. I mean this mark on the wall before. Itachi nodded as well as Naruto. Of course you would notice the mark, I left it there, Itachi explained. It was during our third go-around that I noticed something seemed off. Namely at the fact that we passed by the same picture of the second Raikage twice. I noticed on the fourth go-around, Naruto mumbled. A genjutsu that affects the entire team. Pretty smart move, to weed out the weaker ninjas. Itachi put his hands into the ram seal, as did the other two. Kai, they shouted. Around them the hallway seemed to blur away. Naruto had to blink his eyes a few times to adjust to the lightning. Looking next to him he saw that Itachi and Yugao were recovering as well. Taking in the area around them, he saw that they weren't the only ones affected. Several teams from Iwa, AIM and from Kumo itself were just standing there dazed. Let's go, Itachi said, catching Naruto's attention. We spent 5 minutes here, and 15 minutes to walk all the way to this building from our hotel. We only have 10 minutes before they close the doors on us. Naruto nodded his head and they finished walking down the hallway, where they came to a large set of double doors. Through here is the first step to greatness, the blonde said with a smile. You guys ready? As if you had to ask, Itachi smirked. Let us go, Naruto-san, Yugao smiled. Naruto nodded and pushed open the door and they entered the room. As they all eyes fell onto them, Naruto could feel the killing intent of some of the other people aimed at them, as well as the rest of his group, but Naruto and Itachi were able to shrug it off. Yugao struggled a bit, but was able to overcome the feeling as well. They went to the far wall, near a bunch of desks and leaned against it. While they walked over there, they heard some interesting conversations. More kids, a boy asked another one as they passed by some Kumo ninjas. That's the third group with brats in it. I know what you mean. I still can't believe our Raikage let kids into this battle. Not to mention that thing is here to compete too, Naruto heard the other boy whisper back, sending a glare at the opposite end of the room. Following his gaze, his eyes landed on none other than Yugito Ni, who had her eyes closed. Next to her were two boys, who seemed to be in the same age group as Naruto and Itachi. One had dark skin, just like A and Killer B. He had messy platinum blonde hair, with a small patch covering his left eye. He was wearing a black shirt and black pants with white wrist guards, his headband was nowhere to be seen. The other boy had bright blonde hair, not as bright as Naruto's but still pretty bright. His headband was around his forehead, and he wore the exact same thing as the other boy. Hey Itachi, Naruto called out to his friend. The Uchiha who had his eyes closed cracked one open and looked at his friend. Naruto motioned over to the other side of the room where Yugito and her partners were. It seems like we're not the only kids around here after all. Itachi nodded. Look to the corner of the room to left. You'll see yet another boy around our age, Itachi mumbled. Naruto looked to the other side of the room and towards the corner. There was a group of Iwa ninja, but Naruto was surprised to see yet one more kid in their group. This one was blonde, just as blonde as he was. His hair was long and straight like a girl's, with a bang covering his left eye as well. He had on a green shirt with a fishnet shirt under it. Black ninja pants and sandals. Around his forehead was his own forehead protector. Looks like Iwa and Kumo have talented youth too, geniuses in their own right. That or they didn't want to be upstaged by Konoha for sending young kids to try and earn the title. Can I have your attention please? An extremely cheery voice shouted, causing Naruto to flinch. Damn, this person is too happy, whoever it is, the blonde mumbled. They looked to the front of the class to see a woman wearing standard Kumo Junin gear. Black shirts, black pants and white armor like covering over their chest, but with enough free room on the right side. She had brown hair and same color eyes. What annoyed Naruto was her smiling face. Unlike Yukie, this lady's smile was true, but man was it just annoying to look at it. It was too bright and happy. My name is Sawat, the Junin introduced herself. I am going to be your proctor today. Kami, her voice is like nails on a chalkboard, Naruto groaned. Next to him Itachi nodded his head, also trying to ignore the extremely happy tone of the woman. Yugao was covering her ears with her hands. Looking around, the blonde noticed that everyone was wincing as well. Please take a seat and I will explain to you what your exam will be. Slowly, each group took seats in the empty classroom, with teammates sitting next to each other. When everyone was sitting down, Sawat clapped her hands together and smiled. Great, today is the first part of the Chunin exams, so this part is going to be easy. Taking a piece of paper from her pocket, she raised it up for the kids to see. Today you guys are given this. It's a piece of paper with the location of a Junin who will let you pass this test. It should be in the small space in the desk. You can all look at it right now. Itachi reached in and pulled out the piece of paper and examined, with the other two leaning in. What they saw surprised them. It was just one word, stand, with 3 blanks next to it. Hey, the blonde from Iowa shouted. What the heck is this? We only got a word on it. Everyone started shouting out their protests as well. Naruto was about to join in the shouting too, but Itachi stopped him. Yes, everyone only got one word. All of you got the word stand correct. Sawat smiled. Each person nodded their heads as the proctor smiled. Good, because that is the first test. Not only are you supposed to go to where the Junin is, you have to find out where it is in the first place. And to make it fair, each group has a different destination. There are 3 areas in all as to where the Junins can be. And each group can only go to the one on their paper. Then how do we see the rest of the words on this thing? Naruto grumbled out loud. That is simple. We had placed some words in the places where you have visited when you had arrived here. You see, we had some Junin follow you and mark the areas you had visited when you first arrived. When you left, we had our Junins mark the area with a special ink that would react to the paper you have. No. All you have to do is find the ink spots in the area from the places you went to and figure it out. All the ink spots should be in the first 3 places you had visited when you went to Kumo. Sawat smiled. Is everyone clear on what they are doing? When the groups nodded, they agreed. Oh, and one more thing, we had asked several Chunin to play in this as well. They are going to try and steal your papers from you and destroy it. So please don't lose them. Also, your entire team has to make it to the place. Wait, what? People shouted. You have until sunset to get to your spot. Ready, begin. Just like that, everyone shot out of the room and began looking for the first areas they had visited, with Naruto's group being last to leave. What do you think about this, Itachi-san? Yugao asked. Why would we do this right now? It's an information gathering test, Itachi explained. Ninja like us are supposed to be able to find the information we need and get away from trouble. That is what the inclusion of several Chunins are for. I'm probably guessing they're around us right now, Naruto sighed. The Uchiha and the female nodded. Should I start using that jutsu? Just don't strain yourself, you're going to be using a lot of chakra to keep that move up. Well, if I keep it in a small distance I don't have to waste so much chakra. Just be careful, you barely finished cutting the leaf a few weeks ago and barely started trying to split that waterfall in half just before we left. Your control over Fudan chakra is still pretty unrefined. I know that, but I'm not trying to cut anything, are we? I'm just sending out my chakra. Naruto argued. Itachi sighed and nodded his head. Fine, let's do it, but again be careful. Naruto nodded his head this time and did 4 hand seals before shouting. Fudan. Haruka's Miyabi, wind release. Spring wind elegance, Naruto shouted. From Naruto's body a slight gust went forth in a circular direction. Naruto closed his eyes for a moment, his left twitched at times before he opened them. Crap, this is taxing after all. How far away is the range so far, Naruto-san? Yugao asked, looking worriedly at the boy. About half a kilometer in each direction, Naruto whispered back. I felt a leaf falling through the dome of wind a few seconds ago. Feels weird that I'm doing this now. I could actually start to feel the drain. He then turned to Itachi. Did you bring all the chakra replenishing pills? Itachi nodded. Good. I may need all of them by the end of the day. They then jumped off into towards the first place they visited since coming to Kumo, the ramen stand. Konoha current time, so the exams have begun? Minato asked. He was sitting on a sofa at home, with Yuri, the blonde baby, in his arms. Hi Hokage-sama, the bird Anbu replied. I see. Did you tell the other Junins about what you are supposed to do? Hi. I have told them to tell their groups to try and take out Team 9 as quickly as possible. Very well, you are dismissed. The Anbu member nodded his head and left the room using Shunshin. Honey, who was that? Kushina asked as she entered the room with Tsubaki, the red-haired daughter, in her arms. Nothing much, Kushina-chan, don't worry about it. We were just talking about the Chunin exams. Kushina nodded, then sat next to her husband on the sofa. Isn't Makoto's group going there as well? Minato stiffened and nodded. That's the one with the Uzumaki boy, right? I think his name was Naruto. Yes, they are there as well. Kushina smiled. Well, I hope they make it far. It has been far too long since we've seen an Uzumaki in action other than myself. Kushina stopped talking before a frown came to her face. Although I have to wonder, why is there another Uzumaki in Konoha other than myself and our family? Also, she stopped and looked at Minato. Why does he look so much like you? I don't know either, Minato lied through his teeth. I mean, with the destruction of Uzushiogakure and the massive dispersion of your people, they may have come across some of my family in other places as well. Naruto may have come to Konoha looking for family to relate to, like you, and if by any chance me. Kushina looked at him and slowly nodded her head. I guess you are right. The two stayed quiet for a while until Kushina suggested something again. Why don't we adopt him? What? Minato stuttered. Why don't we adopt him? I mean, it would give him a chance to be closer to us, and it could give me a chance to teach him some of the Uzumaki clan techniques. I don't think that's such a good idea. Why? I mean, he's already living with Tsunade-sama and he seems to be happy. He lives with Tsunade-sama? Kushina asked in surprise. I didn't know that. You didn't? No. But I guess it would make sense though. The Senjus and the Uzumakis were close to each other, distantly related of course. Why did he go live with them and not us instead? I mean, his parents may have told him to find some Uzumakis to live with, right? Can we talk about something else? Minato tried to steer the conversation away and Kushina noticed it. She noticed that he was willing to stop talking about this specific topic. Why don't you want to talk about this, Minato? The red-haired woman asked. This involves someone in my clan, so I should be concerned, and as my husband you should be concerned with it as well. You see, Minato tried to come up with a convincing lie. He knew he wasn't able to continuously lie to his wife's face, he knew she would catch him in the act. Hokage-sama, a voice interrupted, which let him let out a sigh of relief, which Kushina caught. Both turned to the door and saw a man in complete Anbu gear, black pants, gray chest armor over a sleeveless black shirt, and a katana on their back. On his hip was a weapons holster and a white mask with a broken left side. What set this person apart was his hair, which was gray and gravity-defying. His left eye was covered with a part of his forehead protector and the whole bottom of his face was covered by a black cloth mask. Ah, Kakashi, Minato smiled at the welcomed interruption. How many times have I told you to call me Minato? Ha 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 ha, sorry about that. Kakashi I smiled and scratched the back of his head. What are you doing here, Kakashi? Kushina asked with a smile, although it had a threatening tone. Why did you come at the point where I was asking my husband something important? Oh, Kushina-sama, I'm sorry for bothering, but I'm here on to ask Minato-sensei about something. The Cyclops then turned to his former teacher. What is it that you need, Kakashi? Minato smiled. I was just wondering, who will you take to Kumo when our genin make it to the third round? Oh, about that, do you mind if we discuss this back at the tower? Minato placed Yuri in the crib nearby them and gave Kushina a kiss on the cheek. I'll see you later, Kushina. He then looked at Kakashi. Let's go. When they left, Kushina furrowed her brows before looking at the girl in her arms. Should we go talk to Tsunade? Kushina asked the mini version in her arms. Tsubaki made some gurgling noise and Kushina smiled. Okay, let's go. Let's get the crib and put you along with Yuri and talk to her. Team 9, Naruto, Itachi and Yugao had all went back to the ramen stand and began to look for what they needed. Naruto and the rest of them scanned the entire stall with a piece of paper. They were surprised when they found some ink blot on Naruto's seat. The word, "the," appeared on the first blank spot on the piece of paper. Well, that's just freaking great, Naruto groaned. That doesn't help us in any way whatsoever. At least we found one part, and that was only within the first hour, Itachi answered. Yugao nodded her head and then turned to Naruto. How are you doing, Naruto? She asked. Are you still holding up? Yeah, it's just hard to sort through who all these people are. I can only make out shapes, Naruto replied. Although, it seems like our guests know where we are. 2 people just entered my field and will be on us within the next few minutes. Damn, Itachi cursed. I thought we'd have more time. Should we fight them or run? We should run, Naruto replied. I agree, Yugao stated. Do you still have the paper, Naruto? Itachi asked as he looked at them. The blonde nodded. Good, let's meet up back at the designated meeting spot for us. Yugao and Itachi ran out of the room and jumped from roof to roof, leaving Naruto alone as he came out of the room. Naruto's eyes locked onto the 2 people who dropped in on them. They were in civilian clothes, but had forehead protectors on them. Seems like the other 2 left the blonde boy alone, one of the Chunin smirked. Yeah, that's right. Well, it makes it easier for us, the other one shot back. Oh, Naruto asked. I didn't know you guys took this seriously enough to take care of a kid like me alone. Of course we are taking you seriously. We are getting paid AC class mission rate for this after all. Oh, AC class mission, how many of those have you done yet? 3, 4, shut up, brat. Our group has done 7. Sadly our 3rd member is sick right now so he can't help us. Oh, my 7 C rank missions. Naruto gasped in mock shock. Want to know how many C rank missions I've done? I've done 8. That doesn't mean anything, one of the Kumo ninjas replied. You can't how good a ninja is by how many missions they have done. This caused Naruto to smirk. I could guess what kind of ninjas you are. Crappy ones. What do you mean? You can't even tell when a clone is standing in front of you instead of the real thing. Naruto then poofed in a cloud of smoke. What? Both men shouted in unison. He was a clone all the time. Why didn't you notice? Why didn't I notice? Why didn't you notice? The 2 started to argue as they went away. From out of a dark alley Naruto walked out. Stupid idiots, the blonde sighed. Reaching into his pocket he popped in a chakra pill. Damn, a Kage Bunshin and Haruka's Miyabi drained me like hell. Now to meet up at the training field we met A and Killer B at. A few minutes later, Naruto appeared next to Itachi who was frowning. Yugao was frowning too. So no luck? Naruto asked. No, Naruto answered. Those Chunins weren't all that smart either. Couldn't even tell a clone from the real thing. So you lost them? Yugao asked. The blonde nodded. Good, because we couldn't find the clue in this area. Are you sure? Yeah, we checked it everywhere. Itachi then closed his eyes before speaking again. They said the ink blots would be in the first place we visited, right? Itachi asked. Yeah, Yugao replied. Since we visited the ramen stand, we know that was one of the areas we visited. Right, but you have to remember where we actually stopped by first. Which was where again? What are you saying? Naruto asked confusedly. I mean other than the ramen stand, the only place we have been to our hotel and the toll booth. Naruto stopped talking when he understood what Itachi was insinuating. You mean those are the places they can be at? Itachi nodded. So let's go there then. The group ran towards their hotel. As they did, Naruto whispered, someone is following us. Just as he said, a person landed in front of them. The entire group tensed when they saw the person who appeared in front of them. He was wearing Junin gear, but what set him apart from other Junin was the fact that he had a white porcelain mask in the shape of a cow on it. What is an Anbu member doing here? I am here to stop you, the Kumo Anbu replied. So now give me the paper, and you won't have to be hurt. Itachi looked at Naruto and nodded. Yugao-san, please hurry up and get to the places to get where the ink is, Itachi stated. But Itachi-san, Yugao tried to protest. Go, Naruto shouted. Itachi and I can hold him off for a bit. But he's an Anbu. We know that, Itachi replied. Look, we don't have much time, but you can get the ink blots for the paper. So hurry. The purple-haired girl looked at both of them, noticing that they were determined and that they wouldn't budge. Yugao nodded and tried to run past the Anbu member, but he stepped in front of her. Where do you think you're going, little girl? The Anbu was interrupted as both Naruto and Itachi tried to kick him in the face. The Anbu dodged to the right, but it allowed Yugao enough time to escape. Damn, get back here, the Anbu shouted. He was about to run after her when a kunai was about to get him. His hand caught it. You think that this would stop me? Now but the thing on it might, Naruto smirked. The Anbu reacted fast enough and threw the blade to the side where it exploded. Well then, it seems like I'll have to beat a lesson into you two boys, the Anbu cracked his knuckles. We just have a question for you before we do anything else, Itachi stated. And what is it? Why are you, an Anbu, participating in something like? We only thought that Chunins were going to be involved in this. Oh, that, let's just say we know of a certain bet. I see. Itachi cracked his neck this time. Naruto, we have a few hours to keep him busy and for Yugao to find the paper. You know we won't win, right? The blonde retorted. I know, but we don't have to beat him. Naruto chuckled before cracking his own neck. Well, let's do this. With Yugao. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Yugao muttered as she rifled through their hotel room, placing the paper in front of almost every piece of furniture she could see. Come on, where are you? I need to find you so the boys don't get hurt. She flung pillows away from the bed. Not finding any sort of ink blot, she moved onto the table set. Placing the piece of paper on everything she can. She then put the paper in front of the book Itachi was reading the night before. When she did that, she saw the word, greatest, appearing on the second line. This is great. Yugao let out a sigh of relief. I just need to find the one in the toll booth. She then turned around and left the room. As she exited the hotel itself, she came to a stop when she saw the two Chunin that were at the ramen stand. Hand over the paper, girlie. One of them smiled at her. Naruto and Itachi. Naruto was punched into a tree as he blocked the attack from the Anbu. Kami, that hurt, Naruto cursed. It should, The Anbu smirked under his mask. You are nothing compared to me. Naruto coughed before standing up again. I know you're holding back, but that punch was like a freaking love tap from my ba-chan. The Anbu was about to respond, but ducked a kick aimed at his head from Itachi. The Anbu then punched Itachi as he stood up. I have to say you guys are pretty good, for a bunch of 7-year-olds I mean. Although I think it's time to stop playing around. The Anbu walked closer to them. My superiors told me not to kill you or physically cripple you in any way, but I think a sound beating is good enough for you, the likes of you two. You should really stop underestimating us, Itachi replied. Why should I take you as seriously as I take all my other missions? You guys are only 7-year-old genin after all. That's right, but you forget, we're good enough to be in the Chunin exams, Naruto said as he stood up and prepared for another attack. That doesn't mean anything. From the looks of things, you guys made a bad choice in fighting me. If this were a real mission, you'd be dead and I'd be after your third teammate. That shows terrible decision-making that is required for being Chunins. Ha ha ha, he thinks we're that stupid, Naruto laughed. You see this guy Itachi? This guy is acting rather high and mighty. Are all Kumo ninja like this? I don't know Naruto, but Kumo Anbu-san, Itachi replied as he looked at the Anbu. You have already failed your mission. What do you mean? All I have to do is disqualify you for me to complete it, and here you are. All I have to do is cripple you, the cow Chunin told them. Naruto and Itachi started to chuckle. What's so funny? Slowly their chuckles became full-blown laughter. What are you two laughing at? Don't you get it? Your chances of winning are over. You won't be able to become Chunin. It's not over for us, Naruto replied as he calmed down. Although it may be over for you, Itachi continued to talk. Not only did you fail your mission, and let us get away, you beat up 2 Kumo ninja. So more or less, you're fired. What are you talking about? The Anbu growled. The two boys smiled before, putting their hands together and shouting, Kai. A plume of smoke covered them and from out of the smoke fell 2 beaten bodies. To be more specific, 2 beaten bodies of the Chunin sent after Team 9. What? With Yugao. Yugao was about to attack the 2 Kumo Chunin before the one who didn't have their hand out smacked the other one on the head. Idiot, drop the act, the ninja said. Fine, fine Itachi, the one with his hand out grunted before he transformed into Naruto. The one next to him turned into Itachi. Naruto-san, Itachi-san, Yugao asked confused. But, I thought, weren't you guys back there? Look, we'll explain on the way, but for now let's get a move on, Itachi said as they ran towards the toll booth. How are you two here? The purple-haired girl asked. We were always here, Naruto replied as they kept running. We were always watching what was happening. What do you mean? What Naruto is trying to say is we never left your side, Itachi explained. The entire time we were watching you from afar. Huh, you see Yugao-san, Itachi continued. From the moment you woke up from your nap to the ramen stand incident, we were never with you. Then who were those with me? Hanged shadow clones, Naruto revealed. They got to the toll booth at the moment and hurriedly looked for the ink blot somewhere there. The Kumo ninjas did nothing to stop them. It only took a moment, for they found it when the paper had passed over a copy of Yugao's identifications. The word, ramen, appeared on it. Oh, you have to be kidding me. The greatest ramen stand, we went there at the very beginning. Itachi groaned in annoyance while Yugao was still confused. Wait, tell me what happened. I'm still confused, the purple-haired girl stated. They had then ran towards the ramen stand they were at in the very beginning. Look, I'll tell you the extremely short version. You fell asleep, Naruto and I made a plan. Naruto made clones that looked like us. You went to the exam place with clones while we tailed you. Are you with me so far? Itachi asked. Yugao nodded to respond. While we were tailing you, we saw a pair of Chunins following you. We knocked them out, hanged them and put a genjutsu on them while they were still asleep. We made them think they were us. So during the ramen stand incident, we switched off the clones with the Hang people. So to be perfectly honest, we were never with you, and were hiding in the shadows. You guys didn't tell me this plan. Why? Yugao asked, hurt. For it to work, we had to make you believe that we were still there, Naruto told her. I really didn't want to do this, but it was just an extra precaution to make sure we didn't mess up. But you guys could have told me something at least. Look, Itachi said as he put his hand on the girl's shoulder. Yugao-san, we are a team here. What Naruto and I did was not a good thing to do in a team. However, we knew it would have led to a failure if we did tell you. If it makes you feel any better, I'll let you beat up Naruto after the test today. Yeah? Wait, what? Naruto asked, surprised. Yugao was silent, and both boys knew she was mad at them. Before they could speak, the girl beat them to it. Fine, I agree with what you are saying. But next time, you will include me in all your plans, got it? Yugao told them. Or else I'll tell Makoto-sensei your little secret. What secret? Both boys asked in worry. I'll tell her that Itachi-san has a crush on Hyuga from our village and that Naruto-san was the one who replaced the sugar with salt when she tried to drink tea, the purple-haired girl threatened. Both boys stopped in their tracks, eyes wide, as they looked at her. You wouldn't dare. I would. So do we have an agreement, boys? Both boys nodded their heads and Yugao smiled at them. Good, and it looks like we are here. The two boys looked up and found themselves at the same place they ate lunch on the first day. The store was called the Greatest Ramen Stand. They walked in and was greeted by the same vendor from the day before. Ah, it's you three, he shouted. Is the blonde one here to eat me out of house and home again? They didn't respond, save for Itachi showing him the piece of paper. The vendor looked at it for a moment before smiling. Ha ha ha, I didn't think you three would end up at my store for the first part of the exams. From under the counter the vendor produced a forehead protector and placed it on his forehead. How come you sell ramen even though you are a ninja? Naruto asked. Not that I mind really since, well, I love ramen. I'm just curious. A second job is fun and all, plus I just love to make ramen, the vendor, Junin, replied. But this is not about me but you. The ramen vending ninja smiled at them. Congratulations. You have passed the first part of the Chunin exams. The trio smiled. All right. Naruto jumped up into the air. Thank goodness, Yugao sighed. Hey, Itachi smirked. The trio turned to the ramen vendor and bowed. Thank you. You're welcome, kids, he told them. Now in 2 days go back to where the first exams was explained for the second test. The man produced a trio of wristbands and gave it to them. Wear these when you do, it will show them that you have passed the first exam, and don't worry, no one can steal them. Since when you put them on, an array of seals will activate and bind them to your arms. Team 9 nodded and put them on. The wristband glowed for a few seconds before dying out. Okay, you kids can go rest. Thanks again, ramen ninja dude. Naruto smirked. I'll be back in a few days for more food. Team 9 walked away. Good luck with the exams then, kids. Shouted after them. With A and Killer B. So the blonde brat's team passed, huh? A laughed to himself as he looked at the roster of teams that passed. He was sort of happy that Naruto's group had made it through the first round, seeing as the council was trying their hardest to cheat him a victory. His eyes trailed down and smiled, so did Darui's and the Nibi's team. Her name is not Nibi, but Yugito, be wrapped. Try to keep that in your mind, bro. I know that. What I want to know is how 2 Genin boys managed to knock out 2 Chunins twice their age. Well, you see, when I asked the Chunin on what went down, they were making a frown. B started to do a jig and it irritated A bit. One was like, we were ready to spring the attack. Then the other said, but those 2 boys snuck up on our backs. They got hit on the back of their neck, and it must have been painful as heck. When they came to, they were beaten up by the Anbu. At the hospital they told me that they couldn't remember anything before it went black and that their memories were all out of whack. I see. swiveled his chair to look out into the village he controlled. So they said they were overpowered by both of them and that a genjutsu was placed on them. Right bro, just how strong are those two boys to be able to do that? Murmured. So the brat made it to the second stage, Tsunade said with a smirk. Next to her Shizune was frowning and Jiraiya was laughing his off. Of course he did, he was trained by me after all. The toad sage boasted. Tsunade then whacked him on the back of his head. You barely train him, most of the time he's training on his own or with Itachi. Refining his own skills, the slug princess told him. Heck, most of the time you are with him is tell him to focus his chakra and to eat right. Hey, I'm just preparing him to start training in the ways of being a sage. You want to take him as an apprentice? Shizune asked surprised. Yeah, I want to teach him my ways. Although, I'll probably wait until he's at least a Junin to start doing so. You better wait, give him more time to grow up at least, Tsunade scolded him. She then looked over at the clock. She's running late, that girl. What are you talking about, Tsunade-sama? Shizune asked. Oh, I forgot to tell you too, but yesterday I had a visitor. A visitor you say? Jiraiya quirked an eyebrow. Who would this be? Kushina. What? Both Jiraiya and Shizune shouted. She visited me yesterday, asking questions. Flashback. Tsunade was sitting in the kitchen drinking some coffee. She had taken the day off from the hospital that day and left Shizune to practice her skills. She was just resting when she heard a knock on the door. Walking to it, she opened the door. Good morning, Tsunade-sama, how are you today? Kushina greeted as Tsunade opened the door. Alongside her were her two daughters in a carriage. Kushina. Tsunade gasped. What are you doing here? I came here to talk, about a person. May we come in? Tsunade nodded her head and moved aside. Kushina walked and brought the stroller as well. Do you mind if I unseal their crib? No, not at all, Tsunade answered even though she was surprised seeing the woman there. Are you okay, Tsunade-sama? The red-haired woman asked as she unrolled a scroll and unsealed a crib from it. Gently placing both baby girls into the crib next to the sofa, Kushina sat down and looked at Tsunade. Remembering that she hasn't answered yet. I'm fine, it's just that I'm surprised you're here. I mean, we rarely get to talk to each other nowadays. You're taking care of Yuri and Tsubaki there almost all the time. And you're almost always in the hospital, Kushina teased. Tsunade rolled her eyes and looked at Kushina. What are you doing here? The blonde asked. It's not every day you visit someone like me. I'm here to ask you a few questions actually. What about the boy living with you? I want to know about him, Kushina admitted. I wanted to talk to you about Naruto Uzumaki. Tsunade's eyes widened when she heard that. Why do you want to know about him? Tsunade asked, looking suspiciously at her guest. Minato and I were having a conversation and he came up. For some odd reason, he keeps trying to avoid the topic altogether. Like he doesn't want anything to do with him. I see. Closing her eyes, Tsunade shook her head and giving out a sigh. To be honest, you should talk to him and not me. He is the one you want to find out about, right? Kushina nodded. Then you should go talk to him. Although, he is at the Chunin exams right now. I know that is why I came to ask you. I mean, he does spend a lot of time with you, right? The red-haired woman asked. He spends more time with Shizune and the Uchihas than he does with me, Tsunade told her. Sadly, both of the Uchihas that know him the best are with him in the exams and Shizune is privy about her friendship with Naruto. I think she has a crush on him, even though she is a decade older than himself. That's odd, Kushina frowned. It is, but she won't say it. I mean, who would say they have a crush on a 7-year-old? Tsunade chuckled. I see. So are you going to tell me about Naruto? I'll tell you about him, but only the basics about him. The rest, you have to ask him personally. Flashback end. Why did she come of all times to talk about him now? Jiraiya asked after hearing the story. Why 2 years? I think it's because Naruto is interacting more with Minato through the course of missions, Tsunade explained. You know how sometimes the teams have to report to the Hokage himself for some certain missions. Shizune and the Toad Sage nodded. Well, I know Minato wants to spend as much time as possible with his kids, and Kushina brings them, so I think the reason she's seeing him more. That, and I think the fact that another Uzumaki, that is, not part of her family, is in Konoha is having her worried. I see, Shizune stated before her eyes widened in recognizing something said in the story. Hey, I do not have a crush on Naruto. If you're denying it, it just makes it more suspicious. Tsunade smirked. So you are a pedophile. Tsunade-sama, Shizune shrieked. Jiraiya, who was forgotten in the moment, was writing something down in a black book. An older woman, who the hero thinks of as a sister, holds more than sisterly affection for said hero. I'm going to use this as my new story plot, the pervert thought. I think Naruto will give me better story ideas as he grows up. More so than Minato. Team 9. It was 2 days after the first test, and Team 9 found themselves back in the same room. Since they got there a lot earlier than the previous time, they decided to just sit down. When they got to the door, they showed the Junin their wrists with the bands on them. The Junin had let them in and saw that other than Yugito's group, and the group from Iowa, they were some of the first ones there. So they just sat there spending their time doing nothing, while waiting for every other team to appear. Rather, they tried to, but someone decided to bother them. I see you guys made it past the first round, a female voice said. Looking to their left, Yugito was standing there, with the rest of her team standing a few feet away. Why wouldn't we have made it through the first round? Naruto asked. I mean, you and your kids are here too. It's because we are some of the best Kumo has to offer. I'm not sure if I could say the same about you and Konoha. You can think whatever you want, Itachi answered as he looked towards the front of the room. All that matters is that we are here. Other than that, all I can say is that all we can do is move forward. Good words, Itachi, Naruto smirked. So you can tell your little group to watch out for us. For we will get the better of you guys. Yugito glared and then walked back to her group. Team Kumo, what were you doing over there? The dark-skinned boy drawled at Yugito as she came back. Yugito looked at him with a slight glare. It's nothing, Darui, Yugito mumbled. I hear she had met up with them before this too, the other boy on their team stated. Oh, is that true? See? Darui asked. Yeah, apparently they had met at the ramen stand where those kids passed on the test 2 days ago. Did any Junin from our place see how they acted throughout the first test? To answer Darui's question, C shook his head. Apparently they didn't do any of the fighting. One of them placed a genjutsu on the Chunins going after them and had them go out and make other people believe that they were the kids from Konoha. Well, at least that is what I heard from Asama, C explained. I see. Do you know anything about them, Yugito? Darui asked, looking at the older girl. One of them smells like a cat, Yugito stated. The blonde one. He said a lion licked him one day and for some reason I could smell it. That is odd, but will come in handy if we are going to have to find them. See, what else do you know about them? The other male in their group, from what I've gathered, his name is Itachi. From what we know of other villages, the symbol he wears on the back of his shirt is none other than the Uchiha fan symbol. So that means we area against an Uchiha, C informed the other two. Yugito and Darui stiffened a bit. Do you know if he has the Sharingan yet? Yugito asked. Not sure. Again, they didn't fight during the first exams against the Chunins that were sent after them. Just like us, huh? That makes this kind of dull, Darui mumbled. He then looked over at Team 9. They make an interesting group. What do you know about the female in their group? Nothing, to be honest. How about the skills of the blonde? Nothing. Damn, that dull, Darui sighed. Although, this is going to be an interesting match then. Team 9. All I'm saying is that we're going to eat steak after this test, Naruto frowned. And I'm saying that we're going to eat at that soba place, Yugao beat us. Cold noodles are better than steak. Steak is better. Soba, steak, soba. Itachi, what do you think we should eat? They both asked their third teammate. Buffet, Itachi drawled out. That got the other two to stop arguing. Well, that makes sense, right? Yugao said to Naruto. I agree, we all get what we want, the blonde stated. He then smirked. Since Itachi suggested it, I say he pays for it. What? Itachi shouted. Seconded, Yugao smiled. Itachi began to mumble to himself, cursing himself for even suggesting the idea to the two. Team Iwa, so what do you think of the brat over? Asked a black-haired teen. If one were compare his height, he was about twice as tall as Naruto. He had on a dark purple kimono top and black pants. His right arm and shoulders were exposed, but there were several bandages covering his chest. On his back was a large blade, and his hair was about as long as he was tall. Which one, Iru? A shorter male asked. He had red hair, just about as long as he is tall too. He was wearing a yellow shirt and a black shorts. On his legs were some bandages, seemingly red with blood. He wore his forehead protector around his head, and it covered his right eye. Across his back was a staff. The blonde one from Konoha, Ura, Iru supplied. He looks suspiciously like the fourth Hokage, doesn't he? Ura squinted and looked at Naruto before gasping. He does, doesn't he? Ura then turned to the last member of his group. Deidara, do you think he looks like the Yondaime? He actually does, Deidara replied. He was the other kid in the tournament, the one Itachi had noticed on the first day. I didn't know that the Hokage had a kid. I did, but from what I heard, it was only 2 years ago and that they are girls, Iru mumbled. Do you think that blonde has any relations to the Hokage in any way? Looking like him makes him suspicious, Deidara stated. If anything, we can tell the Tsuchikage about this later, but for now we should focus on the test. This is a great place to show my art to the world. You and your art, Ura sighed. I still don't see how they agreed to train you already for the blast core even though you are only 6. I'm just great. Team 9, why do they keep staring at us? Yugao asked her teammates. Naruto and Itachi looked around and saw that every team was looking around the room, but the fact that the remaining Konoha teams, the Kumo teams and the Iwa teams were all looking their way. It's rather obvious, isn't it? Itachi whispered, only looking ahead. Kumo is staring this way because it is likely that the bet between our idiot over here and Ace-san has reached the ears of the council and want us to fail. Iwa's reasons are obvious too, Naruto continued as he leaned back and stared at the ceiling. For some reason, remind them of the one who had shamed them during the Third Ninja War, the Yondaime Hokage. When he said that, Yugao finally noticed it. Even after 2 months with being with them, for some reason she couldn't make the connection. You do look like the Hokage, the purple-haired girl whispered. Why? Naruto looked at her with a sad smile before looking up again. That is a story you'll hear after these exams. I promise you that much, Yugao-senpai. Turning to Itachi, she asked him if he knew what he was talking about with just a look. I already know of Naruto's secret. We basically grew up together, so that much is obvious. Again, you will be told at the end of the exams, since by then Naruto will be able to speak to you without problems occurring. What? I'll tell you at the end of the exams because there is a chance where I will no longer be part of Konoha anymore and their laws won't apply to me, Naruto stated. Yugao wanted to continue but was interrupted by a loud voice. All right kiddies, can I have your attention please? A loud cheerful voice shouted. Naruto and the group had to cover their ears as they looked up to see who the heck was talking. At the front of the room was none other than Sawat smiling at them. It is nice to see you all here. I'm glad to see that more than a few of you had made it through the easy first round. You weren't much of a proctor, you know. Naruto shouted from his place. I know that. It was part of my job to oversee the ninjas working for us to catch you. She then smiled at everyone. As you may know that this part of the exams had required you to get a wristband from the Junin you met with, correct? Multiple heads nodded to confirm it. Now those will be a big part of the second exam. Those bands will act like watches for this next exam. What is this exam you keep telling us about, HN? Deidara asked from the background. It will be called the key battles. Sawat exclaimed. Key battles? Yugito mumbled. That's right, key battles. Sawat then produced a key from somewhere on her body before showing it to the rest of the testers. Keys similar to this one have been placed in various spots all over the mountainous areas near Kumo. Just like the paper in the previous exams, these will guide you towards a set of keys your group needs to find. The wristbands have been inscribed with various seals to show a map if you focus some chakra into it. The map will show you the locations of several nearby keys, as well as a way to get back to Kumo. Now the whole point of this test is to get a key and unlock those wristbands of yours. When you do, a Junin will appear to take you back to Kumo. So this is like a item finding test? Yugao asked. Oh, it's more than, it's called the key battles for a reason. There are only 11 hidden keys in all, meaning that the current 24 teams will be cut down by more than half. That's a lot of people going to be out. Some Konoha genin shouted from the back. Of course it is. We need to cut down on all the slackers attending this thing after all. This will take place outside of Kumo, just as I had said, in the mountainside. There will be a ring enclosing the area in which all of you will be competing in, and several Junins making sure you don't leave the area by accident. Also, there is a 5-day time limit. If you don't find a key in 5 days, you are immediately disqualified. So will you all follow me towards the designated area? She got up and started to walk out of the room. With A and Killer B. So the second part of the exam started. I asked a Kumo Chunin kneeling before him. Hi, Reikage-sama, the Chunin replied with his head hung low. I see, you are dismissed. The Chunin nodded his head and walked out the door. A sat alone, with B outside of his window rapping about how awesome he was. I really had hoped the council would not do anything to hinder the exams, but with them finding out about our bet, it will be harder to do things now. I don't want to win unfairly, but I will need to butt in now. You know, A, B stated as he popped his head through the window. I didn't know you were up for fair play. I'm usually not, A mumbled. This time is different. This time my life is on the line and I'm actually intrigued by what the boy will do in the next few days. Are you worried you might die? Don't worry, cuz I don't think Naruto is that kind of guy. Why do you think that? It's because he likes to rhyme like me. And you know you can trust Killer B. Oh yeah, A groaned in despair at the continuous rapping. I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to ignore that. And while I do trust you, I don't trust that Naruto kid. At least not enough to entrust my life with him. In Konoha, Sofu, Torun and Tara had made it to the second exams. An elderly voice asked, Hi Danzo-sama, a man with a black rain coat with a white porcelain mask in the shape of the face of a rabbit replied emotionlessly. Very good, the elderly man replied. Stepping out of the shadows was a man who looked to be about in his late 60s. His hair was still black, but it was mostly covered up by bandages. In fact, most of his face was covered up by bandages. From his forehead and his right eye were covered by it. He wore a white top and black shinobi pants. His entire right side of the body was covered by some odd ceremonial gown that was red and black. On his chin was cross-shaped scar. His left eye stared at the ninja in front of him before asking something else. What news do you have on Makoto Uchiha's team? Team 9, as they are called, have advanced into the second exam as well, Danzo-sama. Unfortunately, our spies were not able to get any information about what had happened during the first exam. They were not able to gather information on the kids. Hi, it seems that the boys, Itachi Uchiha and Naruto Uzumaki, were able to completely stay off the radar during the exam. I see, that is sad. I will have to retrain them to make them better in their job then. Any other information on that team? Danzo said sternly. There was a rumor going on about them going on in the Council of Kumo that our spies have been able to hear. Explain. It seems that the Uzumaki boy has made a bet with the current Reikage. What sort of bet? The Raikage has agreed to teach the boy how to use the legendary lightning armor jutsu if the boy manages to get to the finals of the Chunin exams. Now that had Danzo interested. The technique that only Raikages are supposed to know. The ninja in front of him nodded. What happens if the boy loses? He will give to Kumo and Uzumaki. An Uzumaki who can bind and control Jinchuriki. Do you mean that he is willing to give up Kushina Namikaze to Kumo? One of the girls maybe. Danzo asked, still intrigued. No sir. From what we have gathered, it seems that he is offering himself to Kumo. Danzo remained silent for a time, with his ninja still kneeling before him. Turning his back to the ninja, Danzo gave out his order. Have Torun, Fu and Terra help out Team 9. We need that team to win at all costs. And you are dismissed. Hi Danzo-sama. The ninja nodded his head before disappearing in a swirl of leaves. Danzo walked down a hall into a room, his own office. It was bare of many things, for all it had was a desk and a bookshelf. Sitting down in his chair, Danzo began to think. Naruto Uzumaki, surrogate grandson to Hiruzen, the surrogate son of two Sannin and the long-forgotten son of the current Hokage. He is either hard-headed beyond all belief or very confident in his abilities. If his test results during the previous results and missions, it must be the latter. Also, if what he is offering to Kumo is true, he will be able to tame the Jinchuriki. Then if he can learn the jutsu of the Raikage, he will be strong and a major asset to Konoha. Using his left hand, Danzo rubbed his chin. Knowing Hiruzen, he probably made sure the boy would know about Root and make sure he wouldn't join, but still, as long as the boy doesn't get lost to Kumo, he will become one of the greatest assets to Konoha in history. They must not fail. With Minato. I see, thank you Tora, Minato told a ninja kneeling in front of him. It was my job Hokage-sama, the man replied. This man looked just like the one talking to Danzo but several difference. He was wearing a white coat instead of black, he had a tiger mask instead of a rabbit, also this person had emotion in his voice and wasn't devoid of it. Thank you, you are dismissed Tora. The one known as Tora nodded and actually walked out the door instead of using a shunshin. Minato sat there for a moment and frowned. Naruto is much better than I thought. However, he still needs to fail. He must fail. What do you mean by that? A voice asked. What do you need Jiraiya-sensei? Minato asked aloud. It was still for a few moments before the sound of wood meeting stone was heard. Looking over to the window, Minato saw the Toad Sage standing there. Well, I came here to greet my one and favorite disciple, but then I hear this. Jiraiya glared at the Hokage. Now, what do you mean that Naruto must fail? It is nothing, the blonde tried to avoid the subject. It is not nothing. I have the right to be worried when one of my students wants his own son, my godson, to fail the Chunin exams. He is not my son. Not anymore. Why are you so rough on Naruto? Why do you hate him? Because he will ruin my life. Minato shouted, his face full of rage. Jiraiya, on the other hand, looked extremely confused. What do you mean that he will ruin your life? The Toad Sage asked. Minato's eyes widened, before he cursed under his breath. The Hokage knew he wouldn't be able to escape from this situation, and that Jiraiya was not weak enough for a seal to work on him. Taking his time, Minato let out a sigh before speaking. Jiraiya-sensei, please have a seat. I have something to tell you about. Jiraiya did just that, waiting for Minato to speak. The day after the Kyuubi attack, the day after you came with the prophecy, the toads have came to me with a message. Message? Jiraiya repeated. Yes, a message that contained a prophecy that concerned me. What did it say? That in a little over a decade, my life would be ruined. Minato gulped down the saliva that was caught in his throat as he spoke, since he was the only one who knew about this. It was a hard subject to tell anyone. All my friends, my family, and the rest of the village will come to dislike me. Not only that, but my title of Hokage will be taken from me as well. Although that last part was not clear who will take it. And you think it is Naruto? Jiraiya asked. Minato nodded. That is some total bullshit. How the hell do you think it will be Naruto that will ruin your life? How do you know that it is him that will do this to you? That prophecy was vague enough for it to be anybody. I know it will be Naruto, but you didn't let me finish to explain. The blonde man sighed, feeling as if the weight of the world on his shoulders. The prophecy gave a small description of what the person would look like. It will be a person with my hair and my eyes who will do this to me. There is no one else I know of that looks like me, so it only leaves one person. Naruto, Jiraiya finished. The two were quiet before Jiraiya spoke again. You do know that by doing what you have done to Naruto you may have already started him on that path you are afraid of. He may hate you because of this. He won't hate me, from the looks of things he seems perfectly fine and happy. Minato replied, although he seems mad at some points, especially when he sees me. And you don't think he'll hate you through your actions? No, not at all. Makoto, it has only been 4 hours since the second exam started, 4 hours since she last saw her kids off for the exams. 3 hours since they were told to wait, and Makoto was surprised at her team. She was already summoned to the area where they were, their wristbands were off and a key was in their hands. It was safe to say that she was stunned. They stood there with a smirk on their faces, even Itachi had one, as they looked at her. She was worried about what would happen to them at the beginning of the exams, especially with the whispers coming from the other Konoha Junin senseis. They had all been talking amongst themselves, forgetting that she was in the room. She heard that most of the teams from Konoha were gunning for her team for some unknown reason. She was worried for their safety, but she didn't have to be. Again, standing before her was her team, perfectly fine, if you count a small amount of bruises, cuts and dirt on them fine. What happened to you three? She asked gobsmacked. She knew they were strong, she was there when they trained with each other, but she didn't know how strong they were since the three would train together outside of their usual meetings with each other. Found a key, fought some genin, got dirty, waiting in this exam hall for the next 4 days to wait for the rest of the people to arrive, Itachi stated. We'll see you later Okawa-san. Naruto, Yugao and I we're just allowed to greet you. For the rest of the week we aren't allowed to speak to you. The trio turned around to leave, but Naruto and Yugao gave her a tired wave before leaving. That left Makoto even more confused. Just how strong are those kids now? Within the testing grounds, same time. Yugito, Darui and C had arrived at the epicenter of a battlefield. At the start of the test, they were dropped down in a random place by Sawat and a couple of Junin. They had found that the wristbands did show a map when they channeled some chakra into it, with the person wearing the bands marked as a triangle and keys represented as dots. The downside was that there was no real indication as to how far the keys really were. They had found that they were far away from several keys and decided to run in a certain direction. After a few minutes of running, they had witnessed several battles along the way, but they were all far away from the keys. Within 4 hours, they had avoided most fights they had come across since all of them were still looking for keys. They were heading to the south towards a key when suddenly went out. Where they arrived caused them to look confused. The land was burnt, several long cuts were in the surrounding forests and mountain sides, and there were some upturned boulders here and there. What happened here? Yugito asked. I don't know, but it looks like there was a big battle, C replied looking around. Darui, what do you think? We just must have missed the fight, and whoever won had gotten the key, the dark-skinned boy answered. The group then heard a groan coming from somewhere, and they followed it. A few minutes later they found a group of 6 Konoha genin tending their wounds. What happened to you guys? The 6 reacted at the words and were wearing fear on their faces. Looking at them, they were not ready for another fight. Don't worry, we won't harm you seeing as there is no key nearby, C told them. The genin looked at each other before calming down a bit. So tell us what happened to you guys. A male genin looked around, before he licked his dry lips to wet them. We were beaten badly, the genin answered. Our teams met up, and decided to ambush another team. A team our leader wanted to eliminate from the tournament. But it turned out bad. We couldn't even handle the situation. Care to explain? Yugito asked with a raised eyebrow. We had ambushed them, a group of 1 girl and 2 kids, from Konoha. We jumped them from the bushes, and whatnot. But there was snag. The boys swallowed. It was like they were expecting us. The 3 we jumped were just cage bunchins that were hanged. After the failed ambush, a heavy wind blew us away from each other. Then Boy, the Uchiha, came out of nowhere and separated us even more, by putting a fire in between us and our groups. Then the girl, she knew some Doden jutsu and made a wall around us to make sure we wouldn't interfere. Then they took us out one by one. The blonde did most of the physical fighting, he even broke one of our members' legs. Darui and them looked over and saw that a girl's leg was in a splint and winced. He apologized to me before he did it, the girl mumbled. He left me a first aid kit after the fight. She then blushed thinking about him. Now that I think it, he seemed apologetic the entire thing. Makes him kind of cute. So are you telling me that a group of 6 genin were overpowered by 7-year-olds and a girl? Darui asked, almost wincing at the fact that they were in the same boat. They were not just 7-year-olds and a girl, stated the original boys. They were like the perfect team. They watched each other backs, knew each other's moves. The boys provided long and mid-range help, even close range they were annoying. The girl used a sword, cutting us and keeping us at bay, and provided protection in her use of jutsu. They are just too good. That left Team Kumo silent for a moment. Damn, we better hope that the next round isn't a team battle or every other team will be in trouble, Darui grumbled.